Welcome, everybody, to the third episode of My Healthy Story. I'm here today with Ann Young, and I met Ann in the Flowing Zen Qigong Teacher Training Certification. And today she's going to share with us a few things that I don't really know yet, but I know that Qigong was instrumental for her. So, Ann, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today and sharing your story with us.
Thanks, Mandy. It's lovely to see you again. I now am a certified Qigong instructor, retired from my career as an educator, 30 plus years. And this is a really different time in my life. And I'm just really happy for an opportunity to tell people what it's like for me being a Qigong instructor in my 7th decade of life.
Yeah, that's quite an accomplishment. I know you're doing really well, and I know you're teaching at your church, right?
Yes, I teach at my church, another church, a health center, health and fitness center, and a VA clinic. So I have a variety of students.
Wow, so you stayed pretty busy doing this. That's awesome. So you're inspiring a lot of people with Qigong.
Hope so.
So tell us, what were your top health challenges that you were dealing with before Qigong came into your life?
Well, if we go back to the first time I learned about Qigong in 2009, I had been having chronic back pain from a herniated disc for about 15 years before that. It was just something that I've lived with. I had retired early from my career to take care of my mother who had dementia. So lots of emotional stress came along with that. And I really had dealt with depression and anxiety off and on through basically my whole adult life. And at that point in 2009, I'd been on antidepressant medications for quite a while. So the top two, I'd say, would be the back pain and the depression.
Okay, and how would you rate those each on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the absolute worst?
Well, I'm going to say 8 for the back pain. I was dealing with it with NSAIDs, pain, over-the-counter pain things. If I walked regularly, it helped with the back, but the depression made it harder to get out and walk. So those two things were sort of fighting against each other. I did get chiropractic treatments, which helped some too. Did I say a number?
No, you didn't. You didn't give me a number for the depression, anxiety.
Okay, I'd say that was about a 7.
At the worst, okay.
Yes.
So you tried chiropractic care and some walking when you were able to.
Mm-hmm.
That did help. What else? What else did you try that maybe didn't make it go away completely, but maybe helped or maybe didn't?
Well, not really a lot at that time when I first came into Qigong. I gained a lot of weight because I wasn't really exercising, wasn't really eating right, and anxiety and depression kind of would always lead me to gain weight. So I was probably 30 pounds heavier. So I wasn't really doing much of anything for myself. I was basically a full-time caregiver for my mother, and my own life was not getting the attention it needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that can happen when you're being a caregiver, which is a great job, and it's necessary to do, and I'm sure she was very grateful. But it led to you neglecting yourself a little bit. So was there a moment that you knew that you had to do something else?
I think the wake-up moment was when I was invited to come to a Qigong workshop, and I didn't know anything about it, but I just thought it sounded interesting, so I went, and I really enjoyed it, and I felt great after learning the few little things that I learned. And I did sign up to go to some classes. And about, I'd say, a month into taking some classes, I started noticing marked increase in the back pain. Not increase, improvement in the back pain. It just it really got my attention. This stuff is helpful.
Now, for those that don't know, would you like to explain what Qigong is, just very briefly?
Sure.
And maybe the connection of why it helped.
Mm-hmm. Well, Qigong is an ancient Chinese practice that includes flowing movements, breathing, and a meditative mind state that leads to stress reduction, more peace, and better health, better well-being. So I learned a Qigong exercise called Carrying the Moon, which really gave me immediate relief from the back pain. And the more I did Carrying the Moon, the better the back pain got. So that kept me coming to the classes.
Mm-hmm.
So that next couple of years, 2009, 2011, I went to lots of classes, learned lots of Qigong, but I didn't practice on my own, which we now know is crucial to getting the best results. So I still had the extra weight. I still was taking the big antidepressant medication. But my mother died in 2011. And when she died, I went back to work, to my career as an educator, and found that work was not only still stressful, but more stressful than it had been before I retired the first time. And so I started practicing Qigong every morning before I went to work, just to be able to get centered and still and clear-minded and be able to be effective in my job. So that was 2011, and by the time the certification class came around that you and I, where we met, were in, I was practicing every day. I had lost 25 pounds, not really from dieting. I did adopt a whole foods eating plan, but the weight just sort of fell off as I practiced, learned more advanced techniques. And so by the time we completed our 9-month, 100-hour training course, I was ready to retire again and started being a Qigong instructor at that point in 2016. And then from that point, my life has just gotten better and better. I feel great. I've been to Qigong retreat in Costa Rica with our Sifu 3 times. Really feel like I'm making a difference in people's lives when they come to my classes. They give me wonderful feedback. So I'm just very grateful that.
Yeah. So you saw the power that Qigong had in yourself, and also changing the food that you were eating, like you said, adopting a whole foods plan. I always say food is instrumental to not just losing weight, but health in general. So that was amazing. And so you saw weight loss, your back pain was improved. Now, for those that don't know, Carrying the Moon is a great exercise that involves arching the back just a little bit, always to comfort, and then gently going down and kind of hanging and letting the back kind of relax. And it is one of those great exercises that is perfect for low back pain, even though you'd think it wouldn't be, because there's, you have that flexion and extension going on, but it's amazing. So what, on a scale of 1 to 10 now, when everything had improved, or now, how would you rate the back pain and the depression, anxiety?
Well, I rarely have back pain. If I exert myself in a way, like move a lot of pots when I'm gardening, and then I might have a little back pain. A little Qigong will certainly relieve it. And I would say maybe a 1 or a 2 for the back pain. I don't think I'd mentioned that I've been off of antidepressant medication probably for 5 years at least.
Awesome.
And while I may have, some depression episodes, I feel like I have a toolbox of things to use to help me get through it. Qigong is really, really helpful because of the looking for the quiet, the meditative state. It's almost a spiritual practice, not a religious practice, but almost spiritual. So that's helped a lot. Also, I get treatments from my acupuncturist, who's a traditional Chinese medical doctor, doctor of Oriental medicine, is that it? DOM, Dr. Akemi, and who has lots of other healing modalities that she uses for helping me stay healthy and upbeat and moving in life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, her treatments are wonderful. Let's see. So I was wondering if you could explain a little bit about why you think Qigong had helped you so much, because it's not, there's some studies on it, right? But as far as Qi goes, there's no real measurable way to do it. So we know that it works. So what is your take on why it helped you?
Well, do you remember when we were in class, Mandy, and we learned that if we break down the practice of Qigong, the first thing we think about is the exercises, the way we move our body. And we learned that that is not as important as we would have thought. That what's more important in how we move in the Qigong exercises is to be comfortable, to be pain-free, to make adjustments as needed for any physical issue that we might be having. So if we have a frozen shoulder and we're doing something where we lift our hands up, we would not cause that frozen shoulder to have any pain. We would modify the exercise. So we learned that how we move is worth only 10% of the 100% of the practice. And then the next thing we learned was that the breathing is very important. It's a 30% part. So we learn to breathe in gently through the nose and out gently through the mouth, relaxing the jaw and putting the whole body into that parasympathetic nervous system mode where where the body knows it can relax, it can repair, as opposed to the jaw clenched fight or flight mode that many of us spend most of our day in. So 30% breathing with a relaxed jaw. So that's only 40%. The rest of the practice, 60%, we say the importance is on the meditative mind, the Zen mind, if you will. And so we spend some time getting relaxed, getting centered, getting into that meditative mind, and we stay there through our whole session. And I think for me, I need all three parts because I've tried sitting meditation and the monkey mind takes over. With moving the body at the same time, it really helps me to stay grounded and stay in the moment. We know that we're going to have thoughts coming in, but we just let them go and come back to the present. So that, to me, is the most important thing of the Qigong, is getting into the meditative state and being able to stay there comfortably and enjoy what you're doing. It feels really good. Nothing ever hurts. If it hurts, you're doing it wrong. Don't do that. So that's, to me, the key. The other key is, I learned this the hard way. I thought I was getting so many benefits from my Qigong practice, but I was able to go to 3 or 4 classes a week, 3 or 4 days a week. The studio was open. I could go to classes. The studio is now closed. There's no place like that where I live where I can go to regular classes. So I had to start practicing on my own every day. And I can be the one to tell you it's hard. I think I'm going to practice every day. I practice 2 days. I don't get back to it for 2 weeks, and I would beat myself up. So you remember this statement we learned? The master has tried more time. The master has failed more time than the student has even tried.
Yes, yes, that's a key to mastery for sure.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say you gave a beautiful and really easy to understand explanation of the different parts of Qigong and certainly why it helped you heal so much with, being in the parasympathetic mode and that meditative state that we all know and science has proved is very healing. So yeah, your explanation was wonderful. So I was also wanting to ask you if you had any additional advice or anything you wanted to share with people that were or are going through anything similar than what you were experiencing with your health challenges.
Well, I guess it's pretty obvious that for me, a holistic approach is the most effective way. I think it's amazing that here at this stage in my life, I don't take any medications at all. I take lots of supplements that Dr. Kemi helps me decide on. I do get chiropractic treatments, and both Dr. Akemi and the chiropractors use the neuro-emotional technique. So to me, that it's very clear that the body-mind connection is crucial. So I would just recommend looking for the modalities that are available that resonate with someone. Give Qigong a try. There's lots of stuff on the internet about Qigong and Qigong exercises. It's really good to have a teacher, though, someone that can guide people through the process of the meditative mind. Mostly on the internet, what we see is exercises, and while those are good, they're not nearly as effective by themselves than they are when you put them into the whole pattern.
And like you said, they're only 10% of the exercise itself is only 10% of doing Qigong in general. And we are referring to medical Qigong also.
Yes.
So to let everyone know.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Anne, thank you so much for sharing your story, your experience with your health challenges and your journey to improve your health. My goal here is to inspire people that they can feel better and they can get off different medications, and you are a perfect example of that. So I'm so grateful that you were here and sharing all this with us today.
Thank you, Mandy. You used a key word right there, grateful. I think the more I am grateful, the healthier I am.
Mm-hmm.
So I would hope that would help somebody.
Yes. Okay. Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us.